Welcome to SALEH Family Speaks.
Hey, I'm Sana.
And I'm Mohammed William.
And we are
The SALEH
family. We are social media influencers, content creators, and we own multiple online businesses. We seem to have a lot to say when it comes to just about anything. We are a mixed culture Muslim couple from Canada, and we're always asked about how our lives intertwine with the world around us.
This podcast is all about learning to live, love, and laugh in a way that may have you rolling on the floor or throwing your phone at the wall. No topic is off the table. Religion, culture, love life, and everything in between. So get ready and grab a big old cup of chai.
Welcome back, everybody. We're excited to have you here again to listen to another podcast episode. And today's topic is...
why people are scared of Muslims. Still, to this day, in 2023, people are scared of Muslims. But why?
Yes, let's talk about why. So, I mean, traditionally, most people that aren't really aware of who Muslims are, the stereotype is that we're barbaric and that we are backwards and terrorists,
misogynistic.
And that's kind of what it's labeled as in movies and on TV and on Netflix and all these different places. Like, Muslims are seen as the bad guys when we're far from it.
Yeah, when you consider the fact that our religion teaches us to be morally upright, to not oppress people, to not create conflict, but rather to work issues out between people, to feed the hungry, to clothe the poor, to
give charity,
to give the utmost respect to your parents, to children, to all of these different things, to respect the environment, to not abuse the environment, to not abuse animals, to not abuse other people. I think that most people, I would say most people, but then I see our comment section sometimes, and I kind of lose hope in humanity.
Yeah, me too.
But I think there's a lot of reasons for it. I think that definitely the
media,
post 9/11 world
yeah.
really helped to shape Muslims in a very negative light, and there's always a reason, right? Again, I'm not going to get into the conspiracy theories about 9/11. You can do that on your own. But the end result is that why would the media perpetrate such a lie against,
such a calm,
neutral,
two peaceful group of people? Yeah. And that's the thing is, if you were to go through our YouTube comments or our TikTok comments, just like Will said, you would pretty much lose faith in humanity because, I mean, I would say a majority of the people that leave comments are great. Like, they're very supportive, very, very sweet, very uplifting towards our content. But there is a huge chunk of
if you
people...
saw our filtered comments.
Yes,
section.
yeah. There's a huge chunk of people that are so disrespectful, so racist, so Islamophobic. It makes you wonder, like, what on earth? Like, we're in 2023. Like, you would think that people would be educated by now that Muslims are peaceful people and that we are not terrorists.
So if we use the same comparative measures that people in the West or East, but use against Muslims, if we use it against the flip side, right, then we would say that Americans are the most violent people on the planet. Americans kill their own citizens at high rates in terms of mass shootings, gun violence. They have no control over the drugs in their communities. You have massive amounts of overdose deaths and crime associated with those things. So it really.
But no one wants to talk about that.
Well, yeah, because it's too easy to do to flip it the other way. But the thing is like, why? I think that when you have the media jump on board and propagate this nonsensical garbage, even the media is divided because you have Democrats and Republicans, and each media outlet is lined up with one side and promoting that ideology and slandering the other side, right? So you can never trust the media because the media is biased. I mean, look at Canada. We have the CBC, which is government subsidized. The Liberal government gives them like $1 billion a year. Well, are they going to be pro-conservative or pro-liberal? Obviously pro-liberal. So whoever's listening to the CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, you're getting a one-sided, biased view of politics. So
Yeah, that's true. And that's the thing is the media really, really does shape how we view the world. And if you think about it, we're getting all of our news from the media. So they can tell us whatever they want to tell us, whether it's true or it's not true. We already know that the media tells us things that aren't true. Everybody knows that. I mean, definitely there's some truth to the news stations that we listen to, but they can still paint it however they want to paint it. And there's headlines that are just mind-boggling. Like they just use certain words that are triggering to people that are Islamophobic or racist. So they'll say things like they'll use the word killed instead of hurt or murdered, or this, like just like the words that they use are very twisted, and it makes me sad knowing that they shape how people view us as Muslims. So like for instance, there's like a news article of a little Palestinian girl sitting on her rooftop, and she was literally doing nothing, sitting on her own roof, just chilling, minding her own business, and an Israeli sniper killed her,
but
literally, literally committed murder.
that's the difference.
And they'll say she died.
Yeah,
They'll use the word died instead of killed.
No,
she was straight up killed.
If it's the other way around, if it's a Palestinian that happened to kill an Israeli, it's murder, right? And if it's the flip side, it's they died.
Yeah, they just died. She just died. She was just sitting on her roof.
Magically caught a stray sniper bullet that was aimed at her head, and she just died.
Yeah,
no, she was targeted. She was murdered. She was assassinated. She was killed. So again, it's the perversion of media, and so most definitely we have within the Muslim world, just like the non-Muslim world, you have evil people. You have evil groups of people.
There's no denying it.
You have evil people who want to conquer the world. You have terrorists. You have, all of these sort of things. They exist in all scopes, in all countries, and all religions. Absolutely.
Cultures. And the thing is people fail to realize that the quote-unquote Muslim terrorists, I'm using air quotes because they really don't follow the tenets of our religion, and their main target and the people they mostly kill are Muslims. And people fail to realize that, and the whole world's like, oh, these terrorist Muslims, they're killing Muslims more than anybody else. They're killing us. So it's like, where do people just get the two confused?
So yeah, I mean, if you look at things prospectively, you would say, okay, well, who controls a lot of the world? Who has the lobbying power? Well, the people who own the banks, that's one for sure. Media, another. Politicians, for sure. So why would someone who cares about banking, why would they care about Islam? Well, because Islam, if the Islamic institution of banking was superimposed over the Western, or European banking system,
there would be no interest.
Well, there would be no compounding interest that enslaves people to debt, because that is impermissible in Islam. So,
so they're losing money.
Well, exactly. So if they can't have, their typical European banks in Muslim countries, they want to make sure that whatever information gets put out shines an evil light on that. You look at politicians. Well, why would politicians care? Well, because if there was an Islamic, let's just say hypothetically a government in America, well, politicians are notoriously known for extramarital affairs, whereas in Islam it's prohibited for sure. But on the flip side, you can have girlfriends, you can have mistresses, but if you were in Islam, you would have to marry those people. You would have to take care of those women. You would have to raise those children that you fostered in this relationship. You would be responsible for it. So there's just so many things where, then they look at, well, terrorism. Well, what is terrorism? Terrorism is using, terror as a means of political gain, or religious for that matter. And it's just so murky to think that you can just blanket like 2 billion people with this label, and then everybody else suffers, right? You have migrant crises. You have, the Syrian migrants. If anybody hasn't checked out their journey, there's some incredible documentaries and stuff about how these people left Syria when the war started in about 2014, and the journeys that they had to endure, 3,000 kilometers,
seek shelter,
just to seek safety.
Yeah.
And they're doing it in these European countries.
And it's happening because of terrorists.
Yeah, it's happening
Muslims are the
because
most
of
affected people.
because of war.
Yeah.
And then you look at the response, and it's been good in some places and horrific in other countries. And let's not forget, guys, that these countries were destabilized through Western colonialism, and their puppet governments put in power, which create huge problems, huge oppression, huge violence to suppress people. And then it's like, well, they show up on Europe's doorstep, and they're like, oh, we don't want nothing to do with these people. Well,
yeah, and the thing is people forget humanity. People forget that in times of need, in times of war, in times of crisis, there shouldn't be border lines, and there shouldn't be, them counting how many plates of mashed potatoes they've handed out to refugees. Like, they should really be focusing on humanity and coming together and trying to make a difference in these people's lives that have literally left everything behind in their home country, got on a boat, didn't know if they were going to even survive the boat ride, let alone making it to this European country and trying to find, refuge and shelter and safety, and many of them kids. And it's mind-boggling to me when you actually look at the statistics of how many of those refugees are actually children. And it's not like they want to be in that situation.
Yeah. So I mean, this is all. There's so many problems and so many caveats to it. But I mean, like nationalism, right? Like thinking that I'm better than you or you're less than me based upon the country that you live in.
It's so sad.
And you see that especially you see it in the Muslim world. This country hates that country, and that country hates this country, and it just fosters this ridiculous ideology. When Islam, as a Muslim, there is no country. There is no country that is supposed to divide, because Allah tells us in the Quran, do not become disunited amongst yourselves. But
Just
we
help
create
each other.
Exactly, we create these artificial borders, and by doing that, it also creates, again, that sense of nationalism, whether that's religious nationalism or mixed in with nationalism, or they say white nationalism in the European countries. Then it becomes this much bigger problem, and then it's not about helping refugees, it's about, oh, brown people, oh, these Muslims, oh, these whatever. And yeah, we can blame anybody and everybody, but at the end of the day,
They're just people.
well, they're just people, and we have to understand that it's much deeper, right? What happened to humanity in and of itself, to where like we just don't care about other people. We don't care about children.
Everybody's just after their own selves these days. And I think when people look at Islam with like an alien kind of point of view, and they're looking inward at Islam as being so weird and strange, that I think they just fail to realize that we are all human beings. We're all human beings. So, yeah. I mean...
And the way you... To kind of digress back to what we were talking about in the beginning, that so much of this is a result of that disdain for Islam, that people aren't happy to allow immigrants into their country because of their religion, because of where they're from,
because of their names.
Islam is a religion that Allah says in the Quran that you may like something that is bad for you, and you may hate something that is good for you, right? So, for example, people will say, oh, I hate Islam, they try to control you, I like to drink alcohol, and that's just that. Well, you might like to drink alcohol, but Islam has prohibited it. God has prohibited it because it's harmful to you.
And in today's, quote, woke society...
No, we don't do woke around here.
Oh, I have to address it, because the people that are on TikTok, and I'm just going to blatantly say it, they can't stand the fact that Islam has rules. And for us, we are very strict on our rules. There's only a certain diet that we can eat. There's only a certain way that we can dress. There's only a certain way that we, present ourselves to the world, whatever it may be. And the, quote, woke society is all about wear whatever you want, do this, however, marry whoever you want, raise your kids however you want.
Is that's like a tenet of Satanism, right?
Yeah.
Where it's all about the self. It's all about you. It's like, have it your way.
Yeah.
Just do it. Interesting how those are like
Interesting.
taglines of some of the biggest corporations in
Yeah,
America. Huh?
yeah.
But it's all about, your own self, your own desire. Do whatever makes you feel good.
And Islam doesn't fit that narrative.
No.
Islam does not fit the modern day woke society. It's too rigid to people. It's too weird to
Yeah,
people.
see, I would flip that, and I
It's
would
too
say
restrictive
that
to people.
wokeism doesn't fit within Islam. And that's why you will see that Muslims will never accept this woke ideology as a whole. You may find some that are, just ridiculous when it comes to, the suppression of masculinity, and they'll support feminism, this is just nonsensical garbage, because feminism of today, it doesn't even,
It's not the same as it used
well,
to be.
yeah, even then, it's when feminism of today supports, men who become women over women, then you've completely lost the whole concept of feminism, as far as I'm concerned. But that's a completely different topic. So, they hate us because we don't stray from our values. They
Muslims are
become
very
scared
strict.
because, our faith is not just this thing that we water down and wash away. Because
Or change because
exactly.
society is moving in a certain direction and we're still in one spot because we still believe in XYZ. We still believe in
Sanctity of
husband and a
marriage.
wife getting married and having kids. We still believe in modest dressing. We still believe in eating halal food.
We still believe in the
you know?
fact that what is bad for you should not be consumed.
Yeah,
Simple.
exactly.
And that you should be giving of your surplus wealth to people who need it.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you can build a vast empire of riches in this world, but the moment you die, somebody else is spending it.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing in it for you in the life hereafter, as we Muslims believe, except what you've left behind in terms of charitable acts, sadaqah jariyah, which is to build a school that will educate people for years to come, or building water wells where for so long people will be benefiting from the things that you left behind, not just a bank account that's going to get usurped by ungrateful children.
But the thing is people in today's society will look at Islam and call it barbaric. Like the fact that we do have these traditions, they'll think it's a barbaric religion because it doesn't fit who they want to be. And you guys, if that's what you believe in, that's totally on you. It's totally up to you. I'm not going to change your viewpoint or how you want to live, but you have no right to make Islam so alien and so
here's
foreign.
the interesting part. These people who want to hate Islam, or the woke crowd, you got woke yesterday. Islam has been around for 1,400 years. This tradition that has encompassed, the entire world,
and 2 billion Muslims
has been around. Yeah, today.
Today,
right? What about 100?
yeah.
It's always been
Yeah.
a huge number of the population. So you want to jump on the bandwagon of wokeness. You're a trend. That's all you are. You are a trend
on social media.
On social media. Your own countrymen hate you and despise you. This is not me saying that. This is just a fact. That's why when you have a Republican versus Democrat, it's split. The country's split. You have the woke and the non-woke, and they despise each other. And so you want to try to say, oh, Islam is this, this, and this, but you don't even have the backing of your own people, right? And the interesting point is that once this whole non-woke crowd, and again, it might seem like the majority, but it isn't. You have the non-woke crowd is the silent majority. And I say silent majority because anybody who's ever been on social media knows that if you go and drop a comment on some video that's so ridiculous that
You'll get canceled.
Promotes just nonsensical garbage, you're going to have a million people attacking you, right?
Something as simple as the other day, I was on my For You page. I know this is like not really on topic, but it kind of is on topic. I was on my For You page, and it was a mother talking about breastfeeding to sleep, and how bad that is, and how it's a bad habit to have. And there was maybe like 100 something comments on there. Most of the people agreeing, saying, yeah, like I hate having my body not mine anymore. Like I want to be able to do whatever I want to do.
Don't have kids.
And there was literally just two people that had commented that were being attacked because they said breastfeeding is natural and it's completely natural for a baby to fall asleep at the breast. And I was like, yes, these people. And I feel so bad because they're being bullied for just
they probably
believing
deleted their accounts.
And the amount of bullying that comes from this both-sided thing it's just like it just
So
blows my
you said the
mind.
best part. You said natural. Where
Yeah.
Islam is all about the fitra. It's all about the natural way of life for a human being.
Exactly.
So whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, I'm a Muslim, and whether I like it or not forget about you if you're not a Muslim, it's whether I like it or not, that we have defined gender roles in Islam. We have, the
And this
fact.
is strictly, this is from God
Absolutely,
and
as
his
we believe it
commandments
to
to
be.
us.
So we have the defined gender roles. We have a definition clearly of what marriage is and whom marriage is for. You have roles of a husband over a wife and a wife over a husband and children over their parents and parents over their children. You have, all of these things that fall in line with the natural way of a human being or society in general.
Yep.
So if the modern wokeism is upset, too bad. I mean, that's all you can
That's
say.
just
Really,
what we believe in.
Is we're not going to change. If there's things that you may disagree with, fine. But as we know, this is the crowd that can't handle people disagreeing with them. They talk about they want freedom of speech and they want to be able to talk about what they want to talk about, and then they attack people for having a different view, which is completely nonsensical. Because if it's freedom of speech, I'm free to believe what I want. I'm free to disagree with you. I'm free to do whatever I want. And you can't just say, oh, you're wrong, and try to attack other people because of it.
And that's the thing, is when you relate this back to why people hate Muslims so much, it is, again, because it's different.
It's the foundation that we have.
Yeah, it's different, and it's not what people are used to, and that's okay. But what we need to remember is, let's keep the Islamophobia to a minimum. Like, let's keep the hatred and the racist comments to a minimum, because you won't see Muslims in those comment sections online of the woke society, making fun of other people and the ways that they choose to live their life. That's completely fine. But when it comes to Islam, it's the complete opposite. It's just the comments are just full of racist comments because people just feel that they can just do that. So let's go back down to, having sane comment sections where people are able to live their lives and believe in whatever religion that they want to believe in.
Yeah, but this is the thing, is that you can't, because as Jordan Peterson actually just stated, I was listening to him, is that you have these demonic people who sit in their room. Outside of that, if they were to speak about the things that they speak about, they would get punched in the face. There would be instant ramifications for the things that they say. Problem is when they sit behind user 5479321, they can say whatever they want with no repercussions. So people should be very much, again, this is why an advice to Muslims and non-Muslims is that, we as Muslims believe that there is no hiding behind a comment. There is no hiding behind a username. Allah, God Almighty, is aware of what we're doing, and so for us, that whole notion of, oh, I'm free to say what I want. No, we're not. And this is an advice that other people should follow, is that, you can say what you want in a comment section, but if you're not brave enough to go and tell someone that to their face, then you're just a coward. You're pathetic.
You shouldn't be doing it anyway.
No, you're pathetic, because you think that you can say what you want, but you're a coward because you would never say it in real life. If I'm going to say something on social media, I'll gladly say it to anybody's face. I don't care. I'm not going to jump on a comment section with some fake username and say something that I wouldn't say to someone otherwise. And I think that's the difference, is that that's what wokeism is. Wokeism is cowardism of people who think that they can just
say whatever,
hurt with no
whoever.
ramifications.
Yeah.
You're not brave. You're not noble. Attacking people, and this goes for the Muslims too. You're not brave and noble by attacking a marginalized group of people, right? We may disagree, like for example, LGBT community. We may disagree with you wholeheartedly about what you're doing, about how you're promoting, whatever. But it doesn't give us the right to attack you and tell you you're a disgusting human being or whatever, because you see these comments that exist from Muslims attacking people like that. It doesn't give us the right, because we want the same respect. You have to give the same respect.
That's exactly what I was trying to get at, is both sides just need to be chill and just need to remember that we believe different things, and that's okay.
Exactly. Disagree with respect. Disagree with the fact that, look, I don't agree with what you're saying, but I'm not going to attack you. You may disagree with what I believe, but it doesn't give you the right to attack me. You know, be kind and civil and have a discussion and learn from each other. That's the biggest problem, is that we put up these barriers and then nobody has any interaction between each other.
And that's one of the primary reasons why we create content is for people to understand who we are as Muslims, to humanize Muslims to the world, to make people understand that we're not this alien religion or faith or group of people, but strictly just to educate through humor, through lightheartedness, all that kind of stuff. And I still, to this day, I'll never understand how much hate that we get while it's still being so lighthearted.
Yeah, imagine if we talked about the controversial things.
I know.
More so, you know. You know, that Allah says in the Quran, "O you who believe," He's speaking to the Muslims, that you have been selected and chosen for the guidance of mankind, right? So if you're a Muslim and you're listening to this, understand what that means, is that you're not going to guide people by hating them. You're not going to show people the truth that you believe it to be by hating people and by spreading, you know, destruction in the comment sections and pushing people away from Islam. That, you know, if people are hating Islam, approach them with love and kindness. Teach them, show them that you know, that understand your own faith enough to be able to show these people that their understanding is false, and that they can benefit from, even if they're not a Muslim, they can benefit from these rules. They can benefit from this way of life. Show them the beauty of it. Don't give them a reason to attack you or attack all of us, because we all, you know, we all take that, you know, Islamophobic, you know, heat one way or another at some point in time. But be the best version of yourself as a Muslim, because we know that it is indeed the Muslims. If you're looking at Muslims, you're not looking at Islam, right? But so we as Muslims have to be that representation as best we can be, and understand that if it's our purpose to guide others, you cannot do it through hatred. You cannot do it through, you know, through this toxicity. It must be done through kindness and compassion, which is the way of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
And if the media has portrayed a certain image of Muslims, it's up to us to correct it.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, it's up to us. So starts here. If you've listened this far, then clearly you're awesome and you care.
Exactly.
So props to you.
Clearly you were like, oh wow, they're going to talk about this, and then they're going to talk about it a little bit, and then they're going to talk about all this other stuff too.
I feel like all of it just kind of is intertwined and it's all kind of related to each other. But it does really put into perspective the modern day and kind of like how Muslims are viewed. So
exactly. So, you know, we don't change our principles. We don't bow down to people who may dislike what we believe. But again, it's not, they can say whatever they want. They can try to hate us as much as they want. We're not going to change. We don't need to change for anybody, because we believe those people who have changed, they changed for God and for what they believe to be living a better life. So, you know, encourage other people towards goodness. That's literally what you're here for. When the Prophet and his companions came to Medina, may Allah be pleased with them, you know, they said, what do we do, Ya Rasulullah? Like, now that we're here and we're a minority and there's all these other people, he said, go. He said, spread salam, spread peace, feed the people. Like, spread peace and feed the people.
Exactly.
So if you're a Muslim, spread peace, feed the people, and invite them to at least understand and find common ground.
There you go, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of Allah the Almighty be upon you, within you, and all around you.